I think we can all agree that the future should be sustainable. However, fossil fuels tend to remain cheaper and more profitable than clean energy. The reason for this is more sustainable solutions like solar and wind only produce power some of the time. If we're going to solve the world's energy problem, it's obvious we need a solution that is on all the time and does not rely on old infrastructure to deliver power to the new infrastructure. My name is 𝗵𝗲 and I'm the president of 𝖬𝗓. Over the last 8 years, we have focused on building a new solution that delivers energy on demand and at the source of consumption.
Our mission is to solve the world's energy problem. We develop new sources of power that enable our customers to become energy independent. After nearly a decade of research, we've discovered a new way to harness the ambient energy all around us as a source of usable electric power. That said, we're going to transition into a demonstration of our quantum energy technology presented by our founder and CEO, Hunter Bjork. Today we're going to be giving you a demonstration of our quantum flux transformer technology. We'll take this demonstration in 3 separate sections as to simplify and help educate you on how this system works. First, we'll talk about the physics of why this technology works, how it functions. Next, we'll talk about each piece of equipment that we have hooked up here, why we use that piece of equipment and what it does. And then third, we'll fire up the system. We'll show you its performance and ability to generate clean electrical power. So first, let's talk a little bit about the physics at hand here and how this technology works. This technology is really a unique way and methodology of harnessing the ambient energy that exists all around us in space. Now, the vacuum of space contains a vast amount of energy. Actually, the majority of energy in our universe exists in the vacuum. To be exact, about 68% of the energy in our universe we can't see, we can't observe it, but exists all around us. So it'd be pretty amazing if we were able to tap into that and use it as a source of electrical power. And with this technology, we've been able to do just that. Now, this system works on a very unique effect of magnetism, whereby magnetic fields are piezomagnetic naturally. And so what that means is that when we generate an electromagnetic field and we apply stress to it, the field will respond, self-organize, and increase in density. Now, we found in our research over the last 8+ years that during these piezomagnetic reactions, magnetism has this very unique effect where it has the ability to harvest this ambient energy that exists all around us and utilize it as a means to fight back against that stress. So magnetism does all the work for us to harvest that energy during these piezomagnetic reactions. And what we've done here is build a system that is designed to apply the maximum amount of stress to the magnetic field, causing that piezomagnetic reaction. Now, if we take a look at our transformer, you can see that we have a very unique vortex coil design that we're utilizing. The reason we're using this specific design is really to cause a magnetic field that has a singularity, where all the lines of flux meet at a central location in the middle of the torus. We would refer to that as a magnetic singularity, where it's not a real singularity like a gravitational one, like we would observe in space, such as a black hole, but it is an artificial and imitation of a black hole using a magnetic field. Now, that singularity in the center of the torus is a point of extreme magnetic compression. Again, our goal here is to cause a piezomagnetic reaction so that we can increase the density of this field and harvest that additional shift in density as additive electricity in the output circuit. So that singularity, that point of compression, is our introduced stress. And if we have stress on a magnetic field, we therefore can increase its density as it will self-organize and harvest additional energy that is already existing all around us. Next, let's talk about the different pieces of equipment that we have laid out here. We'll start from the front side of the circuit and we'll work our way to the output. So over here we have a standard off-the-shelf signal generator. You can think of this as kind of like our musical instrument. It allows us to produce any kind of waveform. We can pulse that waveform, and we can produce that at different kinds of voltages. Now, we use that to produce a signal that then runs out of our signal generator into our waveform amplifier. Now, what a waveform amplifier does is exactly what it sounds like. It takes that waveform and it turns the volume up. It boosts or amplifies that signal. So you can think of this as kind of like an amplifier. If you were to plug your guitar into it, you can turn up the volume. So we're just boosting the amount of energy that's coming out of our signal generator via our waveform amplifier. Now, we are running this system in a DC configuration, so the positive and negative leads coming off of our waveform amplifier are then connected to two more pieces of equipment. Next, you'll see that our positive lead is fed into what's called a rheostat. Now, what a rheostat is simply a variable resistor. It does, again, exactly what it sounds like. It adds resistance to the circuit, so it resists the electrical current flowing through our circuit and is really there as a safety precaution. One of the unique effects of this technology is the fact that it produces energy in two different directions. So as we are producing output, there's actually energy running backwards through the input, and rather than it short-circuiting our very expensive waveform amplifier, we have this little bit of resistance to prevent that energy from hurting or damaging our equipment. So it's just there as a safety precaution. From there, we have the energy continuing to go through our circuit, where we're running it into the input side of our coil. And then on the output side of our coil, we have a positive and negative lead that are running into a 5 microfarad AC capacitor. This capacitor just allows us to smooth out the output as well as to put the coil into resonance. It's not meant to be an energy storage piece. Now, moving on from the initial circuit here, you'll see that we have one more piece of equipment here, which is called an oscilloscope, or scope for short. Now, what an oscilloscope is pretty much just an advanced multimeter. It allows us to read electrical voltages and electrical currents via probes that are connected to the scope. Down below, you'll see that we have 4 individual probes that are connected to our oscilloscope, and that those probes are then connected to our transformer so that we can take readings off of the device and see its performance. So you'll notice that these probes are connected and color codified to our scope, where we're taking a voltage reading on the input side of the coil. We're also taking a current reading off a current probe on the input side of the coil so that we can see the voltage and current on the input of our system. Now we have the exact same thing on the output side of the coil, where we have the ability to read the voltage and the current coming off of the system, all together allowing us to read both voltage and current on the input and output, and thereby allowing us to calculate the real power, which we codify in watts, where that would be voltage times current. So our oscilloscope will read all those measurements for us, calculate the wattages for the input and output, giving us a very detailed look at the performance of the system. So now we're going to perform a live test of our quantum flux transformer. So we're going to start by firing up each piece of equipment, and we'll show you exactly the performance of our system. So we'll turn on our signal generator, turn on our waveform amplifier, make sure our probes are live, and also power up our oscilloscope. To power up our transformer, we'll start by generating a basic waveform on our signal generator. So we're going to tune into a specific frequency, and we'll set this at a low voltage to start, about 100 millivolts. Next, we'll make sure our waveform amplifier is configured correctly, and we'll turn on the amplifier so it's ready to receive a signal. With our waveform amplifier ready to receive a signal, we'll start to output a waveform to the waveform amplifier. With our transformer now powered up, let's go ahead and start taking a reading on our oscilloscope. Now, to make these results a little bit more pronounced, we'll go ahead and now turn up the signal on our signal generator. We'll take it up from about 100 millivolts to 1 volt. And we'll go over to our oscilloscope and see what the results are. Over here on our oscilloscope now, we'll see the different readings coming off of our system. On the bottom half of the screen, you'll see the various waveforms that are being run through the transformer. And above on the screen, you'll see a chart which is displaying all of the measurements in real time. If we take a look at our chart, you'll notice that the input voltage on channel 1 is approximately 10 volts. Below that, you'll see that our output voltage on channel 3 is 22 volts, which is 2 times the amount of voltage in the system. Now, traditionally, one-to-one transformers, voltage would stay the same. However, most transformers do have the ability to step up voltage, and that's not necessarily anomalous. However, in this case, technically speaking, we should have seen the voltage stay the same. But because of this unique geometry, we do see an amplification in voltage. What is more unique about this system is the amplification of current, where if you see the input amps on channel 2, we have approximately 420 milliamps running into the system, and on channel 4, on the output amps, we have 1.5 amps coming out. So we have about 3 times more current coming out of the system than what it's utilizing. And because we have both an amplification of voltage and current happening simultaneously, we therefore have an amplification of watts, whereby the system is using 1.3 watts of input power and generating 9.3 watts of output power, which is approximately 7 to 8 times more power out than what the system is using. Now, if you were to ask a traditional electrical engineer, they would say that is fundamentally impossible and breaks the laws of physics. Now, we know that this technology is well within the bounds of physics, whereas we cannot create energy nor can we destroy energy, and technically speaking, you can't get more out of something than what you put into it, even though that's what we see here. The reason that we see this kind of result in effect, however, is simply that we are harvesting energy that already exists all around us and pulling it into a circuit so that it is demonstrated as additive electrical output and allowing us to generate power. So as you can see, we've developed technology that is capable of harvesting the ambient energy that exists all around us, which we like to call quantum energy. Now, this technology has many different applications that it could be used for, but we're excited to share with you how we envision reimagining powering our world.
Thanks for watching our demo. You're probably left wondering, what are you going to do with it? We're building a quantum energy generator, one that can specifically give consumers and businesses the opportunity to become energy independent if they so do wish, from data centers to real estate, dropping energy costs, increasing efficiency, and of course, remaining inherently sustainable.